Hi, welcome to Crime Clueless. We're your hosts. I'm Jenna.
I'm Lara.
I'm Krista.
And I'm Kayla.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing good.
Good.
Surviving.
Ready for fall.
I was going to say surviving Arizona summer.
No,
Barely.
I'm not.
I do feel like this summer was better than last summer.
So far.
We haven't had 100+ days over 110.
Yeah, we didn't make a new record for that this year.
We made a new record for the lowest high, actually.
See, better this
Tired
year.
of being sweaty
Yeah.
all the time when I'm trying to get ready.
Yep.
And
Okay,
I'm sweaty.
But what
I hate
about
it.
also freezing all day long in the office? That's fun too, right?
I would rather be freezing.
No,
Wow.
I just meant the
Put on all of
differences.
my sweaters.
Like you literally have to walk out the door here with a jacket or a sweater,
Yes.
Yeah.
even when it's 105.
I have a giant fluffy sweater on the back of my chair in my office.
Yeah.
You have to because the AC is freezing.
Yes.
It's
Totally.
It's a fun time. Anybody?
I don't know why
I just
anyone
keep my-
thinks that that's the way to go. It's got to be so expensive. It's
It
so
does.
Oh
cold
my
in
gosh,
places.
right?
Yes.
I don't even turn on the air conditioning in my office right now.
Yeah, you're nuts.
My office,
But
is
it only is,
billion
I turn on my
degrees.
fan in the afternoon,
Yeah.
but it only gets up to 81.
Ew.
And I
Who
love
are
it.
you?
I'm
I
fine
go out
with
to get a
that, yeah.
snack, and then I'm like, oh, so cold out here. I have to go in my office.
We keep ours at 78
Yeah.
for the fish tank.
My house is 78, but my office is 81.
This office would be like 90 in here. It gets
But I do turn on my fan in the afternoon because it gets warm.
Yeah.
75 is where I'm comfortable now. When I go to sleep, it's 70. And in the winter, if we're down in the 60s, awesome.
I didn't turn my heat on last year. Not one time.
I know your house was so cold. It was great.
I know. It was nice.
Yours is 59, and then your fans are still going. So I'm
Oh, my
Freezing.
fans never turn
Freezing.
off. I love it.
Plus the AC unit in your bedroom.
Yeah. I have 3 because
Your room, like whenever I'm house sitting, feels like a freezer. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Pile on all the blankets, pile on all the dogs. It's great.
Yeah. In the winter.
Yep.
In the summer, not so much.
No.
All right. I
So-
just like to stick in the middle, I guess.
my house is 78.
Yeah.
Except for my office.
So we're trying to survive summer. Any good reads this week, ladies?
Of things I'm reading.
Anything interesting or good?
I read my
Krista,
next
what are you
book.
reading?
I read my next Lincoln
Lincoln
Lawyer
Lawyer?
book, the last one that's out till October. So now I'm sad.
Oh, that is sad.
But then I
Keep
started,
reading.
I'm going to read Hunger Games again because my kids are reading it and they want to watch the movie. So I'm
Gotta
going to watch the movie
Did
with
you
them and
read
read
the-
the book.
prequel.
I did.
Yeah.
And that also made me want to reread the books.
Yeah, totally.
I do like the Hunger Games.
It's a series and I'm on book 6 and it is super interesting, but I don't know if I can recommend book 6. It's like a dystopian fantasy book. It's actually really good.
Yes. My
Alright.
book club is reading one called Dark Shores.
Mm.
Which, sorry guys, I need to start. I know they don't listen to this. I'm doing my best here. But that's next on my list, I promise.
Awesome. Tomorrow's project.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you reading anything,
get the
Jenna?
audiobook.
Besides all of our true crime stories?
Oh, it's all true crime.
Just doing all our research.
Yeah. Actually,
love it.
let's see. What's the one? Oh, In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. It's on the Clutter family murders.
Oh.
And I just had read Midnight Assassin for Jury of Her Peers.
Hmm.
But mostly just true crime. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like real true crime, right?
Yeah. You gotta do your research though.
Yes.
I know. I spend all my time reading research. Let's see. Today I have a case for you that is heartbreaking. I mean, they all are, but it is solved.
Oh, that's
I
good.
do like that.
Mm-hmm. So we'll,
I like that justice.
I know.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones, like so many, that just took a little bit longer than we wish it did.
Yeah.
A lot of them are that way, unfortunately.
Agreed. Well, should we dive in?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. In 1979, Michelle Marie Martinko was an 18-year-old high school senior with a bright future ahead of her. She grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the younger of 2 daughters in a close-knit family. By all accounts, Michelle was talented and a driven young woman. she was an above-average student at Kennedy High School. She was a talented performer, singing in choir, and joining the school's twirling squad. Is that batons, right? You remember that?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Friends recall her as vibrant, smart, and beautiful with a love of music. Her mother, Janet, would say Michelle was a beautiful singer whose life revolved around music. She was always setting goals and achieving them. She had plans to attend Iowa State University after graduation to study interior design, a testament to her artistic eye and ambitions. Despite her outgoing talents, Michelle wasn't surrounded by a large clique of close girlfriends. Some classmates were admittedly a bit jealous of her stylish fashion sense and her natural beauty. She never had any school problems, her mom said. She had goals for herself. She would write them down and achieve them. In many ways, Michelle was the all-American girl next door. Kind, creative, well-loved by her family on the cusp of adulthood. Unfortunately, Michelle's promising life would be cut tragically short just before Christmas 1979, and the story of her death would haunt her community for decades to come. The holiday season was in full swing in Cedar Rapids, and 18-year-old Michelle had a busy evening planned on December 19th, 1979. That night, she attended her high school choir's banquet at the local Sheraton Inn, a festive event for the Kennedy Concert Choir. Michelle was dressed for the occasion. She wore a stylish black jersey dress with a black scarf, pantyhose, and heels, topped off with a waist-length white and brown rabbit fur jacket and carrying a brown leather purse. It was a chic outfit for her winter banquet, which, like we said, reflected her fashion sense that she was known for. After the choir event, around 6:30 p.m., Michelle decided to swing by the newly opened Westdale Mall to run an errand. Christmas was just days away, and Westdale Mall, where Michelle also worked part-time, was a popular shopping spot. She was hoping to pick up a new winter coat that her mother had placed on layaway for her. Not wanting to shop alone, she asked a close friend and fellow twirling squad member to join her, but the friend declined. Michelle then asked another acquaintance who initially agreed, but at the last minute backed out. Undeterred, Michelle decided to go to the mall by herself. She had about $180 in cash with her, which in 1979 was quite a bit of money. Michelle arrived at the Westdale Mall in her family's 1972 beige Buick Electra. She began browsing the stores around 7 to 8 p.m. She greeted and chatted with a few friends and acquaintances who worked at the mall. It was that kind of friendly Midwestern town where you often ran into people you knew. The last confirmed sighting of Michelle was around 9 p.m. near a jewelry store inside the mall. By all accounts, nothing seemed amiss at the time. An employee saw her walking by, presumably on her way out after finishing her shopping. When Michelle didn't come home by late that night, her parents were worried. It was unlike her to miss curfew. By 2 a.m., in the early hours of December 20th, her father, Albert Martinko, called the police to report Michelle missing. Albert then went out to search for her, driving through the routes she might have taken. Cedar Rapids police officers were dispatched as well, fanning out to look for any sign of the missing Buick Electra in the cold winter night. Around 4 a.m., a Cedar Rapids patrol officer made a grim discovery in the northeast section of the mall's parking lot near the JCPenney store. There, in the quiet darkness, sat the Martinko family's Buick. Inside, the police officer could see a figure slumped over the passenger side of the front seat. It was Michelle. She wasn't moving.
So sad.
As the officer opened the car door, the scene that came into view was horrific. Michelle had been viciously attacked and stabbed to death inside her own car.
Oh,
So sad.
yeah.
That's tragic.
And like 4 or 5 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
her
sad.
sister said in one documentary that Michelle was going to shop for her family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes me so sad, these young people ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all sad,
Yeah.
but especially when they're so young.
Yep. Blood was everywhere inside the vehicle, but notably, almost none outside, indicating the struggle had almost entirely taken place inside the car. Michelle's body was found collapsed over the passenger seat, like we said. She was still wearing the outfit from the evening, she had been stabbed 29 times in the face, neck, and chest in what looked like a frenzy of violence. Later, the medical examiner would testify that the fatal wound was a deep stab to her sternum that pierced her aorta, causing massive internal bleeding. Roughly 2/3 of her blood volume pooled inside her body from that injury alone.
Oh.
Michelle's hands and arms were covered in cuts, which, classic defensive wounds, evidence that she had fought desperately for her life against her attacker. It was clear to investigators that Michelle did not go quietly. She had tried to defend herself until the very end. In fact, she fought so hard that she likely wounded her killer in the struggle, a fact that would prove crucial decades later. There were other perplexing clues. Michelle's purse was still in the car with her $180 cash intact, indicating this was not a simple robbery gone wrong. She was fully clothed, and subsequent examination confirmed that she had not been sexually assaulted. Those findings puzzled investigators. If not robbery or sexual assault, what was the motive? The overkill nature of the stabbing, 29 wounds, many to the face and the chest, suggested a crime of passion or personal anger. Personal in nature, one investigator concluded pretty early on. But Michelle's family and friends could not fathom who would hate her enough to commit such a brutal act. For a city like Cedar Rapids, a crime of this savagery was shocking and virtually unheard of. Then Detective Harvey Denlinger, one of the officers who responded that night, later said, "I had never seen anybody stabbed that many times. Something like that was unheard of around here." Police photographs and reports from the scene told the story of a frenzied attack. Investigators theorized that the assailant had surprised Michelle as she either sat in or was about to start her car, and a violent struggle ensued entirely within the front seat of the vehicle. Blood spatter confined inside the car, and the pattern of wounds indicated the murderer was likely positioned close to Michelle, possibly in the driver's doorway or even partially on top of her as she fought back. In the struggle, the killer may have struck Michelle with the butt or end of a knife. There was an injury on her head that suggested a blow with a blunt object, causing her to fall back across the front seat. The attacker then pinned or held her down and continued a frenzied stabbing assault as her fear and terror kicked in, as one prosecutor later described it. The sheer brutality of the scene left even veteran officers shaken. By dawn on December 20th, 1979, news of Michelle Martinko's murder had spread, and Cedar Rapids would wake up to one of the most horrific crimes in its history. Every available police officer was called in that morning. The department threw all hands on deck to hunt for a killer that had, for the moment, vanished into the night.
That's one of my worst fears is like getting in the car and someone attacks you or something. I always hit that lock button as soon as I get in. Freaks me out.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
And Mila's always like, check under the car. You got to protect the backs of your, what are those called? Your Achilles
tendon.
Achilles tendon. She's like, don't let them get that.
I know that's what I've seen that too.
I mean, that's the thing.
It is
terrifying.
Ugh.
I hate it.
I hadn't heard that before.
They get that and then you can't run.
Cool.
Krista's like, well, I quit.
I know.
That's why they say to like shine your flashlight under your car, make sure no
I
one's
always
like
come
laying
up
under there.
diagonal.
I do feel
Too.
like yours and my car, and really all of our cars, are pretty low to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, it would be really hard to be under there and do that.
I'm wearing boots most of the time, so that makes me feel a little more secure.
All right, time to invest in some boots. Not taking the truck anywhere.
Never wear
Arizona
sandals,
in the
ever.
summer, bro.
Worth it.
Still wear boots to work every single day. I hate open-toed shoes. Can't do it.
Yeah, that's why you get a flashlight on your
Mm-hmm.
thing and shine it under the car as you're walking up to it.
Or your phone. Mila's always like, check before I get too close. I'm like, I'm sorry that you know that's a thing.
As women.
Yeah.
Those are things that we have to think about. My husband does not
It's
get in
true.
and lock the car immediately. As soon as he gets out of the car, I lock it.
Yeah, same.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's back and he's like, "Why'd you lock it?"
So I don't
He
get
knows
murdered.
now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's so awful though.
Mhm.
With a beloved teenager brutally slain and a dangerous killer on the loose, the Cedar Rapids Police Department launched an intense investigation. Tips and leads flooded in as soon as the news broke. Within a week of Michelle's death, more than 200 people had phoned in with information or rumors hoping to help. Detectives appealed through the media for anyone who had been at Westdale Mall that night to come forward, and the community responded in force. Investigators started by interviewing Michelle's friends, classmates, and anyone who might have seen her at the mall on December 19th. People who had been at Westdale that evening were questioned for anything unusual. Police even conducted numerous polygraph tests on potential witnesses and persons of interest. Several individuals who fell under suspicion agreed to polygraphs and were eventually cleared by them. Early on, a few odd characters, but also red herrings, emerged from the tip line. For instance, a local teenage boy had been found carrying a knife around that time. I mean, obviously, a huge red flag under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But after interrogation, he was ruled out as Michelle's attacker. Detectives also looked closely at mall employees who exhibited, quote, creepy behavior.
Oh,
There was a man who admitted that he enjoyed following women around and even gawking at store mannequins.
Okay. I was going
Oh.
to question what creepy behavior was and who they were singling out for that, but
that seems
that seems accurate.
accurate.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's,
that's fair.
it's
Yeah.
one thing to do it, but then you're out there telling everyone that,
Yeah.
like, what? Okay.
Yeah, no thanks.
We need to film Krista's faces while we're recording because she's reading a little bit. She's reading along with you. So I see her face. I'm like, what's coming?
I try really hard not to, but that was a
That
lot.
when you're like, what?
Yeah.
I could see it on your face. Like,
I saw a store mannequin, so I was like,
no, what are
That
you
is
doing
happening.
to
that's
them?
Yes.
creepy.
yes.
As disturbing as that was, police determined he wasn't involved in Michelle's murder, and he too was crossed off the suspect list. In those first few weeks, rumors buzzed through Cedar Rapids. Some people whispered that Michelle had been receiving harassing phone calls from a stalker before her death, though police stated they found no evidence that was true. Another rumor claimed there had been a second stabbing in the city in the days after Michelle's murder, fueling fear that a knife-wielding maniac was on the prowl. But police publicly denied that any such incident had occurred. Despite the gossip and the growing anxiety, tangible leads were unfortunately scarce. Naturally, investigators also turned a critical eye towards people in Michelle's personal life because, as we know, often in cases like this, the first suspect is someone close to the victim, maybe an ex-boyfriend or a jealous peer. Michelle's ex-boyfriend, she had dated a boy in high school prior to her death, was questioned extensively. There were murmurs around school that perhaps some teenage romantic conflict had escalated into violence. And honestly, I bet that made them all feel better, thinking that it was some personal conflict with Michelle and someone else.
Because it's not random.
Exactly. Because random, so much worse.
Yeah.
So much worse. I hate those ones. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. They're so terrifying.
yeah. You don't want there to be a reason, but I don't know.
No,
Makes it feel a little bit
I mean, it's
safer
like,
for me.
yeah, right.
If they had a
Because it's not
reason.
just someone that's out there. And actually, Michelle's own parents, in their grief, came to suspect that maybe the ex-boyfriend might have been involved. However, police never found concrete evidence against him. And decades later, when DNA from the crime scene was tested against known suspects, this ex-boyfriend's DNA did not match the killer's profile. He was formally exonerated by the evidence, clearing up any lingering suspicions about him. But in 1979, without today's forensic tools, detectives could not so easily eliminate individuals. And unfortunately, that young man remained under the shadow of suspicion for quite a long time. Meanwhile, a far more menacing suspect surfaced in the investigation. About a month before Michelle's murder, another chilling crime had rocked Cedar Rapids. There was an unknown man that had broken into a local home. He had raped a woman at knife point and even threatened to kill her children.
Oh, wow.
Awful, traumatizing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The brutality and the use of the knife had obvious parallels to Michelle's case. Police considered the possibility that this could be the same perpetrator. And for a while, this criminal, who was by then in custody for the home invasion, became a prime suspect in Michelle's murder. Investigators interrogated him, but he vehemently denied killing Michelle. With no direct evidence tying him to the mall parking lot that night, he was never charged in the Martinko case. And years later, DNA would conclusively rule him out as well. He eventually died in prison in 2012 while serving a life term for the crime. So much for that theory. The investigation's early months were full of dead ends and frustration. But one potential clue nearly slipped through the cracks. 5 months after the murder, a local woman came forward with information she thought might be relevant. On the night of December 19th, she had been driving past Westdale Mall in the early hours, around 2 a.m., which we now know was shortly before Michelle's father and police had found her. This woman had a habit of glancing into the mall lot whenever she passed by because her own daughter worked there and occasionally had car trouble. That night, she noticed 2 cars in the empty parking lot. One was likely Michelle's Buick, and more strikingly, she saw a man standing near the open driver's door of Michelle's car. It was 2 a.m., long after the mall had closed, so that image stuck in her mind. However, when news reports later stated that the murder occurred between 10 p.m. and midnight, this witness assumed what she'd seen at 2 a.m. might be unrelated.
Still report it.
Yes.
Just in case.
So she didn't report it
Well,
just because of the time.
so she mentioned it informally to an acquaintance who was the daughter of a public safety official, thinking that police would be alerted if it was important. But no,
Oh.
she didn't report it. And I so wish she would have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because think about the memory the day after
Yeah.
compared to 5 months later.
Yeah. It's awful.
And I honestly don't know how they narrowed down the time of death to such a small window,
Mhm.
inclusively and specifically. Like, I get it. You're thinking she left the mall at 9, went to her car, and it probably happened right after.
Right.
But even if it did, that doesn't mean that he left.
But the thing is, too, is if it had happened between that time, when did they find her?
4 a.m. the next day because
Right.
she didn't come home.
So that's what I'm wondering, if the woman is thinking about it, like, okay, even if this happened between
Yes,
9
exactly.
and, midnight, I saw this
Mhm.
at 2. There was someone else in that parking lot. Did they see her? Did they see something? Even if she was already
Mhm.
dead at that time?
Right.
Or like, why didn't they
Still-
report it?
Yeah, I drove
Yeah.
past. I saw a man standing by a car.
But also, it could have been whatever happened. He left and came back. Or,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that it's not useful,
No.
Mhm.
especially since I got so many unuseful tips in that first week. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Mhm.
Totally.
Yeah. So she was hoping that, if it was important, police would be alerted, but the tip never made it to detectives at that time. The information was not passed on to the police until many months later when the witness realized it had never been investigated. No one called her. No one wanted to ask her more questions. Nothing. By then, whatever evidence might have been taken from the scene at that exact moment was long gone. Police briefly considered charging the official who failed to relay her message, but ultimately no charges were filed. It was just a frustrating what if. Had officers known about the man by the car at 2 a.m., maybe they would have canvassed nearby areas or considered a different timeline early on. By the summer of 1980, 6 months had passed with no arrest. Investigators grasping for any lead turned to creative and controversial tactics. In June 1980, the Cedar Rapids police released a composite sketch of a possible suspect. The sketch was unusual in that it wasn't drawn from a typical eyewitness description. It was derived from hypnosis sessions with 2 witnesses.
Oh,
Mhm. Hypnosis was an experimental technique used occasionally back then to enhance memory. And in this case, 2 people who had been at or near the mall that night underwent hypnotic regression to recall details. So they each described a similar young man seen in the area. The resulting composite depicted a white male in his late teens or early 20s, about 6 feet tall with curly brown hair and brown eyes, weighing roughly 165 to 175. This image was circulated publicly in hopes that someone might recognize the individual. Whether due to the sketch or other outreach, the police ended up interviewing hundreds of people in the year after the killing. They even hypnotized up to 30 potential witnesses in their hunt for clues.
Seriously?
Interesting.
Wow.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So they're trying. They're
Yeah.
really we don't have a lot. If anything we can use, we're going to use anything that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Leads that came in were meticulously followed, but each one ended in disappointment. The community's desire to solve Michelle's murder stayed strong. A local fundraising effort put up a $10,000 reward for information leading to the killer, which was a significant sum at the time, but it went unclaimed. Detectives, increasingly desperate, even consulted psychics in the early stages of the investigation.
So hypnosis and psychics.
Mhm. We don't have
Whatever.
anything
Whatever we could.
concrete,
Yeah.
so yeah. But nothing panned out. As months turned to years, the trail went cold. The effect on Michelle's family was devastating. Her parents, Albert and Janet, were consumed by grief and anger. Janet, heartbroken, told a reporter not long after the murder that she doubted she would ever, quote, get over this,
Mhm.
which I don't blame
wouldn't.
her. You don't need to get over
No.
it.
No.
That'd be so awful. She confided also, though, I don't think it will ever be solved. And tragically, for many years, she was right. The case did indeed remain unsolved. Albert, Michelle's father, grew bitter and driven. According to Michelle's sister, Janelle, their father became consumed with anger and wanted to get the person responsible. In an effort to hold someone accountable, Albert filed a lawsuit against the owners of the Westdale Mall, arguing the mall had been negligent by not providing reasonable security in the parking lot on the night of the murder. The lawsuit made its way through the courts and was eventually decided all the way up by the Iowa Supreme Court,
Oh, wow.
but in the mall's favor.
Oh,
The judges found that the mall could not have reasonably foreseen or prevented such a random, savage crime. The Martinko's legal fight yielded no justice for Michelle, only mounting legal bills and deeper resentment and anger. It breaks my heart that it affects her whole family so profoundly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's really sad.
And with no answers, it's hard to try to get any closure because
Right.
I don't know.
There's
No answers and
ways to move on.
mhm.
And it reminds me, like in Nancy's case, this kind of sounds the same where you have no idea who did it. So you're kind of suspicious and angry and
But
You know,
everyone.
yes.
Yep.
Because you don't know if it was her ex-boyfriend, at the time,
Right.
or a friend or someone that went to school with her that goes with your other children or
Yeah.
your neighbor. I mean,
Sometimes you
have
just
no
want someone
idea.
to blame. And when you don't have anyone,
Mhm.
the owners of the mall is a good place to kind of place that anger.
yeah, because it's this broad
Yeah.
tent. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's not one specific person.
And then after you're placing your anger there, you still get
Mhm.
let down again, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
They ruled in their favor. So they still didn't get anywhere from that. Which is
No.
really, that's
And
heartbreaking.
So now I think you're angry at the police, the investigators, the judicial system.
The mall
mean-
still. And
Yeah, everything.
That's a lot.
yeah,
A lot to hold on to. As the 1980s wore on, Michelle's case became one of Cedar Rapids' most infamous cold cases. Each year on the anniversary of her death, local news would run segments to remind the public that Michelle's killer had not been found. The crime cast a long shadow over the city's psyche. Many of Michelle's peers grew up and raised families of their own, but they never forgot the horror of what happened in that mall parking lot. Michelle's high school friends would periodically gather or hold vigils, hoping to keep her memory alive and the investigation open. The community kept this case alive, Michelle's sister Janelle later said, noting how profoundly her sister's murder had affected Cedar Rapids. And this will break your heart. Sadly, Albert and Janet did not live to see their daughter's case solved.
Oh, that is sad.
It would be so devastating.
Mm-hmm.
I just never know.
Yeah. The grief took a toll on their health. Albert died in 1995 and Janet in 1998, both passing away without any answers as to who killed Michelle. Janelle, who was Michelle's older sister, said her parents never recovered from the killing.
Mm-hmm.
She said it destroyed their mother emotionally, and their father died still believing that a particular young man, Michelle's ex-boyfriend, must have been involved. They went to their graves with the mystery unsolved and the weight of it never lifting. By the late 1990s and then the early 2000s, Michelle's case was ice cold, a haunting open wound for her family and a stubborn, unsolved mystery for Cedar Rapids police. It would take new eyes on the case and new science to finally crack it open. Little did anyone know that Michelle herself had left behind the key piece of evidence.
Oh,
Intrigue.
Her own final act of resistance contained the seed of justice. In October 2006, a veteran Cedar Rapids cold case investigator named Doug Larson decided to take another look at the Martinko case. By this time, forensic technology had advanced significantly since 1979. Larson combed through the old evidence with a fresh perspective. He noticed something important that earlier investigators could only document but not fully utilize. There was unidentified blood at the crime scene that clearly did not belong to Michelle.
Oh, good.
Yeah, go Michelle.
I was thinking if there was 29 stab wounds. I don't know. From all the other cases we've talked about, I feel like normally with a knife, you're going to stab yourself. If she scratched him or I don't know, something.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Did they even check under her nails for skin cells?
But I mean,
She
at the
could have scratched
time,
him.
was that something that they could even test?
So actually, in 1979, scraping under fingernails was already a common part of evidence collection. They knew that if a victim fought back, there was a chance that they'd clawed their attacker, and that would leave behind tiny fragments of skin, blood, fibers, things like that. Investigators would collect it, and then it would be examined under a microscope. And sometimes they would even run the blood typing on it that they had. You know, now we know that labs can pull profiles from a single cell or a drop of blood. But when Michelle was killed, DNA testing, like you said, didn't exist. When police collected blood at the scene in the late 70s, they used serology tests, which is old school blood typing. So they could determine ABO type. They could also sometimes determine the Rh factor, you know, whether it was positive or negative. And by the late 70s, they could also test for enzyme and protein markers in the blood, things like PGM or ESD. These markers weren't unique to one person, but it gave them more options than just A positive or O negative. And so it was a better chance of determining whether all the different blood at the crime scene came from only one person or from someone else. It wasn't anywhere near as precise as DNA testing, but it could point to a second source more than just the A and B. In 1979, though, fingernail scrapings and also blood swabs didn't mean a whole lot beyond circumstantial support, but a lot of them were preserved. And DNA analysis started to become available in the mid-1980s. And then especially as it advanced in the 1990s and the 2000s, they could go back and revisit. And the cool thing is that that evidence maybe once only said, someone was here. And now that evidence, when it was preserved, could tell them exactly who it came from. With the fingernail scrapings, they weren't just looking for blood type or enzyme markers. A lot of times they were also using it to determine like if there was a struggle, because they knew that meant someone had also been there. They could also look for fibers, dirt, paint, or hair. So they would scrape not just to hopefully find skin cells, but to find any evidence that someone else was there. One thing that's cool about the blood typing in the 70s was that even if both types of blood were type A, the proteins that they would test for, PGM, ESD, AK, and GLO, were all markers that varied between all the blood types. So even if the blood types were the same, they could possibly find something else. And then those even had subtypes. So maybe both were type A and they both have PGM, but one might be subtype 2 while the other one is subtype 1, which would then also show that they came from different people. And then another thing that they would look at is blood splatter. Obviously, if there's blood going away from the car or on the handle, like in Michelle's case, that was a clue that someone else had been there and to possibly someone else's blood was present to hang on to those specific stains or specific blood drops. But they were able to check blood typing. But you're right, all of you. They did say that she had a lot of defensive wounds, and they were pretty certain she'd injured him. I mean, because even if it's not skin cells under the nail, if you're able to draw any blood, that's what we need.
Good research for us. We're less clueless.
By a little bit.
Well, even now, if they're finding blood, how much do they test it?
I mean, they can figure out it's a different person's blood real quick.
Now they can. But,
So they'll pull like multiple samples, I'm sure.
But to your point, what do they save still? Now knowing how far it's come, what do they save in hopes of more advancements? Remember talking about patties, though? They had 1 drop of blood and they haven't tested it because it's not advanced enough still. I keep hoping every day to get that Google alert. Please test it. But when you only have 1 shot. So back in 79-80, detectives had recognized that they were probably looking at the killer's blood, presumably from a cut sustained during the knife attack or, from Michelle's fighting back. But there wasn't a lot that they could do with it at the time. Larison later remarked he believed Michelle had managed to injure her attacker, which, go Michelle, causing him to bleed and leave that crucial evidence behind. Having the killer's DNA, having the killer's blood, is like having the killer himself, Investigator Larison told the Gazette, expressing confidence that science could turn that blood into a name. Larison's optimism was well-founded. In 2006, DNA profiling was routine in law enforcement. The blood sample from Michelle's dress and another from the gear shift knob of her car was sent to the lab for analysis. The result was a clear male DNA profile. Yes. A genetic fingerprint of Michelle's likely killer. This was a huge break. After 27 years, investigators finally held the DNA's genetic code in their hands. They immediately ran the profile through CODIS, which, as you remember, is the National FBI DNA database of convicted offenders, hoping for a match. It was a long shot, but if the man had ever been arrested for a qualifying offense, his DNA would already be on file. The result, though, no hits in CODIS. The killer, it seemed, had never committed a crime that landed his DNA in any known databank. Or if he hadn't been caught for it, which is so awful. You would think with a crime this violent and this horrific that there would be more.
There's so many times, though, it's not.
Mhm.
Especially
there's
if
a
it's
lot that
personal.
we've done.
Yeah.
Well, like Nancy's,
Yeah.
they never found his DNA, even when they did it. They
Yeah.
found through his son.
Yeah, that's true.
And it had been, they still don't know how they were connected or anything like that.
I'm still waiting for that answer too.
I know.
It's just crazy that you could do that and then nothing else.
Well, like Robin's
Because it
killer.
doesn't even have to be a murder.
Well, remember Robin?
Yeah.
There's a lot that we've talked about where something horrific like this, and then there's no DNA profile on
Yeah.
file for them.
Yeah. I still keep thinking too about the serial killers out there that haven't been caught. How did you never do anything else, but also do so many murders?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Zodiac killer's been on my mind a lot. How to catch him.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Back to it.
Yeah. So no hidden CODIS. It was disappointing, but not the end of the road. As we know, we've got genetic genealogy. Armed with the DNA profile, Cedar Rapids police began comparing it to DNA from any suspect who had ever been linked to this case. They went back and tested dozens of individuals, including those longtime persons of interest who had come up over the years. One by one, the samples came back negative. Notably, Michelle's ex-boyfriend, who, as mentioned, had been under suspicion in many minds, was conclusively exonerated by DNA when his sample did not match the blood from the crime scene. So awful to be under suspicion for so many years,
Mhm.
especially to know that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, and her dad passed away thinking it was probably him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is heartbreaking.
So
Yeah.
why couldn't they like blood type people back then who were under suspicion? Like if they knew it was a specific blood type,
They could.
they just didn't.
But they can't
Yeah.
match it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would narrow it down, but
Yeah. I
Then
mean,
you could look into them more. Or if,
yeah.
you
It
know,
could
be like,
still
it's
point
not
you in a
for
direction.
you. Like it's not matched to you,
Mhm.
but this is B negative and you're B negative.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And to be fair, they probably did that. And maybe he was the same blood type,
But not a
but they
match.
couldn't link him any other way. He probably
Yeah,
took a
that's-
polygraph and passed. And so they're like, well, we don't have anything to charge you with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that definitely, it could rule people out, but it
Yeah.
couldn't.
It can't match them specifically.
Exactly. Yeah. The same went for the convicted rapist from 1979. His DNA wasn't a match either. And any other potential suspect the police could find.
Oh,
Not a single one matched this mystery profile,
that's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
I bet
Can
they
you
were
imagine?
like,
You're like, what happened
know.
in
Yeah.
79?
They're like, we finally got this and now we can't even match it to someone.
Yeah, you have like a whole list of suspected people and
nothing.
nothing. Though, even without a name, investigators now knew their killer's biological signature. As Larison said, it felt like having the killer himself, even if they didn't know who, quote, he was. The case was by no means solved in 2006, but for the first time in decades, there was a renewed sense of hope and momentum. Detective Matt Denlinger, ironically the son of retired Detective Harvey Denlinger, who had worked the case originally, took a particular interest. Matt had actually grown up hearing about the Martinko case from his father. He was only 5 when Michelle was killed, but, quote, every single year on December 19th, the local news would have a Michelle Martinko segment, he recalled. It was really hard to miss the severity of it. Now, as an adult and a Cedar Rapids police investigator himself, Matt picked up the torch. He said, wouldn't it be something if I could find our suspect and my dad is still alive?
That would be
Mm-hmm.
that'd be pretty cool.
He
Yeah.
would probably love to know the outcome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
10 years later, by 2016,
Wow.
Detective Matt and his colleagues were ready to try a new forensic technique that sounded like science fiction. DNA phenotyping. Yay!
Yay.
Cedar Rapids police hired Parabon Nanolabs.
Oh,
We love them.
We've heard them.
Mm-hmm. a Virginia company on the cutting edge of genetic analysis to predict what the unknown killer might look like based purely on his DNA. Arabon used the genetic data from the crime scene to infer physical traits, things like his ancestry, his hair color, eye color, facial structure. The result was a set of computer-generated composite images showing a generic face of a man with a few versions at different ages. In May 2017, police unveiled those composite sketches to the public in a press conference. They hoped that the face, essentially a high-tech guess at what the killer might have looked like as a young man, and then now in middle age, might jolt someone's memory or prompt a new tip. The images depicted a man of Northern European descent with light brown hair and brown eyes, among other features. It was a bold approach to reignite interest in the case, and also such a brand new technique. Like this was right up there with some of the first cases that they took on.
Did it look anything like the hypnosis drawings?
That is a good question.
That's the first thing I thought of
Yeah,
when you
that
were
would
saying
be-
it.
I'd be curious to know too.
I'll look that up and get back to you.
I know you said like brown curly hair.
Well, and I think that's good that they're able to do it at different ages too, so that maybe someone in Cedar Rapids can be like, hey, I remember that guy.
That would have been good. You're right.
Would have.
Would have.
Never mind.
The phenotyping press conference did generate a buzz. From May through September of 2017, over 100 new tips poured in, spurred by people comparing the composite to people they once knew.
And didn't like.
Or now knew. And didn't like. Right. Investigators doggedly chased these leads, but once again, none led to an arrest.
So close. Like we're so close to answers.
So frustrating.
So frustrating, right? Still, the effort wasn't wasted. In the course of following tips, DNA was used to rule out more than 100 additional people
Wow.
as the source of the crime scene evidence. So the circle was tightening, even if only by process of elimination. By late 2017, Detective Denlinger had a gut feeling that was both encouraging and chilling. Maybe the reason they hadn't found the suspect in any of the files or known connections was because the killer truly had no clear personal link to Michelle.
No.
I don't like those.
No.
I'm going to put all of your faces on YouTube right now. Oh, I know, though. It's the worst outcome. For decades, everyone had assumed that such a vicious, quote, personal murder must have been done by someone who knew Michelle well. Either an ex, a jealous rival, someone in her neighborhood, someone she's related to. I mean, really, that personal connection for this personal crime. But Denlinger started to believe it might have been the work of a stranger. Perhaps someone passing through or living nearby with no direct ties to her. In a 2018 interview, just before the case finally broke, hint, hint,
We're almost there.
he said he no longer expected to find a neatly obvious suspect in the case files. He said the person might not have had a clear connection to Martinko. Despite the fact that Michelle hadn't been robbed or sexually assaulted, Denlinger theorized that robbery or sexual assault could have been the motive gone awry. Perhaps a stranger attempted one of those crimes and failing, resorted to murder. It's a sobering theory that a random predator might have crossed paths with Michelle that night, but it fit the stubborn lack of any personal link suspect. Then, in April 2018, what happened then?
A solve? Maybe?
A break.
No. You guys should know this one.
There was an update with DNA testing.
For
Blood.
Touch DNA.
Just assume we have no clue.
Jenna.
the case was solved.
I don't know.
Clueless.
The Golden State Killer.
Oh. Hey, Jenna, isn't that when the Golden State Killer was solved?
Yeah, Yeah, it was Kayla.
Hey, Jenna,
Thanks.
we haven't covered that one.
But we've mentioned it in 5 other cases.
Well, you mentioned it, but I didn't know what year. I didn't remember.
I don't know those things.
We're focused on the case you're talking about, not what year that case was solved.
We love you.
For the rest of the people out there, you will get this quicker than we did.
Oh,
So in
Jenna's disappointed in the rest of us.
she
I
is.
can
You
see
can
it on
see
You
her
should
her
put
face.
her face on YouTube.
Yes.
She's like face palming herself.
Trying to guide us to the answer. And Kayla's like, blood. So funny. Oh.
we've officially entered Crime Clueless After Dark, guys.
And the madness sets in.
Okay, guys, in April of 2018, Parabon Labs, remember?
Can you just write it on the wall so we remember from now on?
Yes.
Just important dates.
Yes, I will. I'll write it right where that panel fell down.
Okay.
Golden State Killer solved in
April
April 2018. But that case was such a huge, huge breakthrough. People never thought it would be solved. And the fact that they were able to solve it with this brand new technique is what sent every state in the country were like, oh my gosh, if they solved that one, we have a bunch of cold cases. We have ones we're working on right now that we have DNA from. And so that's when detectives from all over, like Christine Franke, Robin Lawrence, they all heard about it around then and were like, hey, I've got cases. Let's see if we can use that same technique to solve our cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was thinking Christine Franke when you were saying what was solved then.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one I thought of.
You didn't say that.
It was in my head.
I thought you were about to tell us that he was the killer.
Oh.
I was like, what? What's going on here?
How did the Golden State Killer get to Iowa? The Golden State Killer, which you're right, we haven't terrorized.
We've not terrorized our readers with that one yet. Our
Our-
listeners.
Our readers.
You're right. We haven't terrorized our listeners with that one yet.
Yes. And that one is so horrific. It's going to be a minute. You might never come back for more episodes, you three. So we're just going to put a pin in it. But the Golden State Killer terrorized California in the 70s and 80s and was not arrested until after 40 plus years later.
Wow.
Yeah. The breakthrough in that case, like we said, came from genetic genealogy. Investigators had uploaded the killer's DNA profile, just like so many other cases around the country. And, through that public genealogy database, they found distant relatives, then built a family tree to narrow it on one suspect. When investigators in Iowa read that, they went, hey, bingo, that is exactly the kind of outside the box solution we need.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking at this and you're like, we have no clues. We have no witnesses. We have no connections.
But we have DNA.
Mm-hmm.
We have DNA. And honestly, without it, there's no way to solve these
Yeah.
cases that long
No.
later, right?
Yeah, for sure.
At least this
Especially if
specific
it's
one.
random.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is horrific. Later, he was quoted as saying, that was big news. I read the article, it talked about genetic genealogy, and I went, bingo. He reached out to Parabon Nanolabs. The company now had a specialized genetic genealogy unit. In mid-2018, Parabon took the digital DNA profile of the unknown suspect, the same one used for the composites, and uploaded it to GEDmatch, which, a free public website where people share DNA results to research their family history. This was a crucial step. Since the suspect wasn't in any law enforcement databases, maybe he had relatives who were in these consumer DNA databases. It was a long shot, but it had worked for the Golden State Killer case.
In April 2018.
Yes.
And who was the killer?
The Golden State Killer.
Good job, guys.
I was
You were
going to say, you
looking for
didn't
a
tell us
name.
the name.
I was like, I don't know.
Actually, I don't think I've ever told you that before, so we'll save
We're
that
off.
for
Yeah.
another day.
We're off the hook for that one.
Because I can't give it away when we do the Golden State Killer.
Can't handle
okay.
disappointing Jenna again.
I'm not disappointed.
Yes, you are.
No.
We
You didn't
forgot.
see your own
I'm
face.
just gonna
You were
start sending you
disappointed.
homework. No, just kidding. Okay, that's where we're gonna end part 1 of this episode. But part 2 is available right now in your feed. It's just a lot of really interesting information on this case, so we didn't want to cram it into one quick episode. But we're not going to make you wait. We know you don't like that.
We don't like that either.
And to be fair, we don't like that either.
Yes.
I don't like waiting. We're going to put them both out. But for now, the girls don't get to hear how it ends.
Rude.
Because we didn't remember.
That's our punishment.
She was mad.
She's like, ha, ha, ha. I did part 2. No, just kidding.
Like I said, Crime Clueless After Dark.
Yes.
All right. If you have heard of this case and you know who the Golden State Killer is,
You're smarter than us.
Yes.
Let us know.
I was going to say, let us know.
If
And
you
I'm smarter.
remember, if you remember better than we do.
I thought the Parabon Labs would spark it.
Okay, they're important in a lot of stories.
We've talked about them a lot, Jenna.
Yes.
Always because of the Golden State Killer in April of 2018.
Okay, we failed. That's fine.
Move along.
Move along.
She's not mad. She's just disappointed.
Yes.
That's what I always say to people.
I'm neither.
You're always mad.
No. But I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Because that's
But
so much
you really
worse.
are mad.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
That's fine. All right. Let's let Jenna end the episode.
Yes.
We're on social media. We're at Crime Clueless on all your socials. Let us know what you think of this case. Let us know if you like getting both episodes in 1 week and if we should keep doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, give us your feedback.
Yeah, totally. If you want to learn more about this case, but don't do it till you listen to part 2 so that
Mhm.
you can build the suspense along with us. You can find the resources that we used in this case on our blog. Go to crimeclueless.com, go to the contributors section, and the link to our blog is there. And we always list every resource that we can possibly find that was used to develop this case. Thank you so much for listening. We truly appreciate you. And as always, remember, refuse to be clueless, careless, or caught off guard.
Not today, murderers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.